Good morning. This is Susan of the North, also known as Susan Hintz-Epstein, recording my rune draw for the week of June 30th through, I believe, July 6th. And the first rune of the day is Tiwaj reversed. Tiwaj reversed can mean, in some ways, acting against your own best interests, acting out of integrity with yourself, acting from a point of weakness instead of a point of strength. And if this doesn't relate to you, it might relate to someone near you for the same reasons. That is the rune for June 30th, Sunday. For Monday, July 1st, we have the rune Now Thij. Now Thij is the rune of need, constraint, limitation, and something might show up today in this role. The best solution I can offer when this rune shows up is that the seed of the problem is often within the problem itself. So if there is something causing you constraint or limitation, you need to discern what that is and what you can do about it. If it's something physical, you might need to delay until you get the resources to take care of it. If it's an emotional thing, I've seen many people who do not want to give up a belief about something in order to give up the limitations in their lives. So sometimes it is a belief or an emotion that we are causing ourselves. And I especially want to address that in the means of boundaries. You know, I and other people I know have a propensity to do for others just because it's how we are. But sometimes when we give too much of ourselves, we get resentful to the people to whom we are giving. And they themselves, because we have enabled them for so long, want to hang on to what we give them. So we need to discern if the limitation is something in ourselves that we need to change in order to step out of the limiting position we find ourselves in. This one, Wunyo reversed, seems to fit with what I've just said. This is for Tuesday, July 2nd. If this rune finds you, this is the rune of suffering. When this is reversed, it is suffering. When it is upright, it is absolute joy. So when we find ourselves suffering, what are we suffering over? Is it the interpretation of yesterday that we are perhaps not giving up a belief system about something that is causing us limitation and constraint? What is it we need to change in ourselves? Too often we want to project onto other people the things that are not right in our lives or how we want them to be. And so we need to look at what is in me that is causing this limitation. And if it is not in me, what boundaries do I need to draw around the situation so that I am freer of it? Now, again, I've drawn a rune this is for Wednesday, July 3rd. This is Fehu, and Fehu is reversed. And when Fehu comes in reverse, Fehu is the rune of prosperity, the rune of monetary wealth, movable wealth, things that you can turn around and sell or trade in order to have what you need or want. When it comes in reversed, and I started on the topic of limiting beliefs we cause ourselves. When Fehu comes in reversed, and I speak from experience here because I have been working to overcome a lack mentality, which is a belief that I'm broke, I'm poor, none of which is true. It's just how do we use our resources? You know, it's another limiting belief that people have. The rune I have drawn for Thursday, July 4th, This is a much better rune than we've seen all of this week. This is the victory rune. This is so willow. This is the sun. The sun is that which calls us all forth into life, into happiness, into gladness. So, those of us in America are celebrating our nation's anniversary of freedom from Great Britain. But more than this, if we have utilized the runes drawn earlier in the week and we have done the work of inner self reflection and we have discovered those limiting beliefs, whether it is taking care of a loved one that could be better off taking care of themselves instead of making you sick, or suffering over your suffering, looking at your own victim mentality. We all have it to some degree, or looking at where your fear of lack lies. All of these things can be overcome by changing our thoughts about it, by changing our thinking about it. And so willow is the rune that would seem to indicate that we have done that work. So let's rejoice today. Let's celebrate. Go to the fireworks. It's not just about the nation, but it's about us freeing ourselves from limitation, whether we are as a people or as individuals or as the human collective. Let's see what we have for Friday, July 5th. This is a good one in its own way. This is Isa. This is a need to be still, concentrate, take in what you need to take in, allow the experiences of the time, the emotions, the feelings of the times we are in to settle into you. There are many spiritual changes going on around the planet right now. We are in a time of trials because the human collective is meant to rise up. But there are so many people still clinging to the past, holding to what they want life to be instead of what life is. But true liberation arises from the capacity to accept what is, to be flexible, to rise up, to be resilient. So just take some time. Don't be active. Let it sink in where you're at, where you need to be. And for Saturday, July 6th, the rune drawn is, again, this is a good one. If we take that time, we rise up. We have, again, Tiwaj. We started the week with Tiwaj reversed, which can mean being out of integrity, out of alignment with your higher self, or acting in some other way in a weak manner. And the rest of the runes for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday seem to indicate that if this finds you, this reading today seemed to indicate that people were in an emotionally reactive state to perhaps things going on with other people, to doing too much for family members when they need to take the time themselves to heal and to recuperate, perhaps out of a fear of lack. Anything can rise up and be detrimental to our ultimate well-being. But this rune seems to indicate today that we have done that work. We have risen up. We have conquered. So this is Tiwaj closing the week out in an upright position. I am Susan of the North, also known as Susan Hintz-Epstein, and I thank you for joining me with this rune interpretation for the week of June 30th to July 6th.